The counterfeit ticket market is huge. Super Bowl tickets. I mean, it's crazy. Now imagine Taylor Swift or any other artist says, I'm not going to use Ticketmaster.
Yeah, exactly. Because why would Taylor Swift choose to go with NFTs?
It's about owning what is yours. That tour, that music is hers. Why does Ticketmaster or anybody else get to dictate how and who her tickets get sold to?
Exactly. So again, Taylor Swift has set this precedent that she wanted to own her music, re-recording them and calling them Taylor's version.
Buy a ticket, go to the event, and then at the end of the show, Taylor Swift does her I don't know if she has one, but has some famous girl power with like the microphone. You're like, oh, and there's like fireworks going off. Take a picture, and then they airdrop that because you were at that event, and now you have this amazing collectible. All the people that have attended events previously, we're going to give early access to attend events again.
Swifties think right now that if they're buying tickets on StubHub or any third party, Taylor Swift gets a cut off of that. Is that true?
Yeah. No, so...
Welcome back to another episode of Girl in the Verse, the video podcast, the place to be if you are new to Web3, curious at all about NFTs, you've come to the right place. Hi, I'm Melina, a content creator for over 10 years. I am your hype woman, asking all the questions so we can together better understand this new technology. Before we do get started, I do have a favor to ask. Our latest video got over 100 likes, but no subscribers. So if you can take this moment to like, follow, and subscribe, this not only helps the YouTube algorithm know that you love this type of content, but it also amplifies me, the creator, in knowing that you want more content like this so that I can bring on more guests and talk about these topics. So again, let's please take a moment to like, follow, subscribe. Today, we have Joey, who returns to the show, so we can talk about Ticketmaster and all this stuff that's going on with my favorite girl on the planet Earth, Taylor Swift. But just so people, in order to get people familiar with who Joey is, Joey, aka Joey Vowels, is the co-founder and CEO of Team When Moon. He has a Web3 agency that launched in April of 2022 and has worked with over 20 NFT projects. Wow, that's a lot of projects. And prior to Web3, Joey graduated with a degree in small business and entrepreneurship. So for the last 20 years, he's held a multitude of roles for startups and multi-billion-dollar companies. And he currently serves as the CMO and community manager for Tykes and the chief brand officer for The Colony. Joey, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me back. Always loved hanging out with you, my sister from another mister. Yeah. I would, my sister, but see, you can't say like sister from down under because you're above me. So you'd be like, my sister in the top bunk. I don't know what you would say. But soon to be neighbor because you're moving.
I hope so.
Hopefully,
yeah,
fingers crossed. Hopefully you're moving to South Florida. You're getting out of that cold, nasty Canada weather.
Manifesting it.
But yeah. Right? Yeah. No, I'm excited to be back. I always love hanging out with you. I will say in advance for everybody watching, I move around a lot. So if you suffer from any type of motion sickness or anything like that, it might get a little crazy. But yeah, I'm excited to be back and talk about how NFTs and the blockchain can really revolutionize the ticket industry and what they're already doing to the ticket industry.
Exactly, because, part of my frustration, obviously, I am a big Swiftie fan, and for the past 3 years, they've been saying Taylor Swift is not coming to Canada, and over, the last 2-3 weeks, we found out, yes, in fact, she's coming. She announced 8 shows in Toronto, and so here I am living in Canada, and I guess, I did not understand the actual process of buying tickets today, which is, just so everyone gets familiar with this, if you are a fan, you can register at Ticketmaster.com. Then you receive an email to inform you whether or not you are randomly selected for this sale or you're placed on a wait list. And whether or not you're placed for the sale, you get this code that they send you, which still does not guarantee you can buy tickets, right? You're still on another list of waiting to potentially buy tickets. Now, what ended up happening here in Canada, which was an estimated 31 million people registered for Taylor Swift tickets, which would mean that every Swiftie fan and their mother and maybe their grandmother signed up, which was a bit cray-cray for Tay-Tay. But, so a lot of people were sad, breaking down. My friends were crying.
For Tay-Tay?
Yeah.
Is that what you just said?
Cray for Tay-Tay. Yes.
Wow, that's funny.
It's been a whole like 2 weeks of emotional roller coasters. Let me just tell you. But so part of my frustration here is that, I don't know about you, Joey, but what I feel so old saying this, but when I was growing up and I was like going to see Backstreet Boys, okay, I would wait in line outside and like some lady would give me my ticket. I remember that day when you actually had to wait in line. I feel like that would have been...
I was young, they had this record store called Peaches. And if you wanted to buy tickets to a concert, you would have to drive to a Peaches and buy them at Peaches. So like they would tell you like tickets are going on sale at Tuesday at all Peaches locations. So you'd have to drive to like a Peaches and like wait in line or camp out or whatever to buy your tickets from Peaches. That's how it was buying tickets when I was young.
So here's what I mean. It all seems like it was easier then, even though like I know there's a lot of issues, but I feel like I would have had a better chance at purchasing tickets, even if it meant waiting in line 5 days outside. So there's a lot of frustration among Swifties because a lot of us are not getting codes. A lot of us we can't get tickets. And now I'm being told that I need to go on like secondary markets to buy tickets, which are like 3, 4, 5 times the price, which is also ridiculous. So I wanted to have you come on and talk to us about the ticketing system. What are your thoughts on this Ticketmaster? Because I know for a fact that Ticketmaster is saying, well, we're trying to make this experience better for fans. Although I don't think it's better. What are your thoughts on this? Because, this whole concept of the verified fan, and I've seen, oh my God, I cannot tell you how many TikToks I've watched of girls crying like, I'm a real fan.
Cruel Summer and maybe 2 other songs. I know every single song. I can sing them all.
What are your thoughts on this Ticketmaster Verified Fan program? A lot of us Swifties think it's completely BS, but what do you make of this? Are we going in the right direction?
Ticketing is very interesting from an NFT and blockchain perspective because it does solve a lot of issues, but it doesn't solve them all. Ticket companies that have bots or are able to register 1,000, 10,000 times, right, to guarantee they get their code right? You're still going to have to deal with the 2x, 5x, 10x of tickets on secondary sales. But something you said that was very interesting, what you can do with the NFTs and blockchain is the loyal fans, right? So we look at currently right now, I'm sure there's some type of Taylor Swift club or whatever that you can join, right? And you probably sign up with your email address, join a mailing list or whatever, right? Well, the unique thing about NFTs and the blockchain is you could essentially restrict who has access by their wallet. So let's say and it's also an incredible revenue source for Taylor and her team, right? So you say, hey, listen, we're going to sign up 1 million people to Taylor Swift's fan club. You have to buy this NFT for $100, whatever, right? Those 1 million people will have the right to purchase a ticket as an early release, a pre-release, etc., because you own this NFT that makes you a member of the official Taylor Swift fan club. Now, people are going to say, well, you could do that with email addresses, right? Like you can just sign people up with an email and blah, 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 blah. Okay, you're right, you can. But again, the uniqueness of the blockchain and the NFT is it makes it even more difficult to counterfeit fake things because it's on a public ledger that is verified and that can't be faked. So again, we're not going to eliminate ticket botting. We're not going to eliminate the exorbitant prices on secondary. But what we're going to do is be able to really identify the key fans, the loyal fans, and we're going to avoid fakes. Ticketmaster right now is doing something really unique with NFTs and the blockchain, where if you purchase a ticket to an event, so they're currently, what they're doing is they're piloting a program on how do we reward the most loyal fans. So they're currently piloting a program where you buy a ticket. Let's, hypothetically speaking, it's Taylor Swift. You buy a ticket on the blockchain or an NFT. You go to the event, and then at the end of the show, Taylor Swift does her I don't know if she has one, but has some famous like girl power with like the microphone, like, oh, and there's like fireworks going off on the stage, right? And they take like a picture, right? And then maybe they digitize a signature, and then they airdrop that to you. And it was because you were at that event, you scanned your NFT, etc. And now you have this amazing collectible from the event. Well, what this also does, this also allows them to then look at their loyal fans, right? And say, okay, all the people that have attended events previously, we're going to give early access to attend events again, which now starts to weed out all of the ticket agencies, right? Because the ticket agencies, when they buy the tickets, they don't go, right? They're buying the tickets to sell them for 5x and 10x. So the first time through, you're not going to eliminate the ticket agencies. But now the second and third and fourth time through, you could eliminate those ticket agencies that are botting these ticket drops, because you know that the people who are actually going to the event and are scanning that NFT on an amazing app like Token Proof or PoApp or whoever, right? Like whoever can come up with a way to do this. Now you know that the people who attended the event are the people that you want to give an opportunity to attend future events, versus some wallet that was able to mint 100 tickets because they botted it, right? So it's not going to initially solve all of the problems, but it will in the future if they put systems in place. And again, that's the beauty of smart contracts, right? You can write all kinds of really unique code. Like we talked about this yesterday when we were discussing what we were going to talk about today. And I said, how cool would it be if when you bought your yearly membership to Taylor Swift or whatever it was, you would redeem or burn that membership for the right to purchase early tickets to a concert.
Yes.
Right? So like there's so many cool ways you could write things into smart contracts to, again, find your most loyal fans. But I think that the greatest part of the blockchain is the future, right? So the first event is probably going to be a little sticky.
Like
but
this
then
one?
You start to figure out, then you start to collect those wallet addresses, figure out who those loyal fans are, and you say, hey, if you scanned your wallet when you entered our concert in 2023, you now get early access to tickets for the tour in 2025. Because you know those people are fans because they were actually there. Versus, again, people that are just buying them to resell them to make money. And listen, it's a big market. I get it. Like, we're not trying to put ticket companies out of business. This is where, again, they would leverage and say, okay, ticket companies, we're going to just allocate you so many tickets. You don't have to worry about minting or buying. We're just going to make a deal with whoever the secondary ticket sale person is. Hey, listen, if you're willing to pay a premium for 100 tickets, so we're not going to sell them to you for $150, right? Like, that's not how it's going to work. The $150 price is for our loyal fans that have been to concerts before and we want to come back. We know that you're only in this to resell them for 5 and 10x. So you know what? You're going to pay a premium. Instead of $150 a ticket, you're going to pay $500 a ticket. You can buy up to 100 tickets, and then you can sell them for whatever you want or whatever, right? Depending on the seat and the... So, and then also on the blockchain, royalties, right? So Taylor Swift could enforce some type of royalties on secondary sales of tickets, where she can say, hey, we're going to take 2% of every sale, and we're going to put that into my charity, where I'm going to help girls from the inner city or underprivileged women or battered women go to college, start a business, right? So now people are selling these tickets on secondary for all this money, and they're taking a small percentage, and now Taylor can give it back to her fans.
And so I think this is what's interesting and why I wanted to have this conversation too, is the fact that, you know, it's not just about Taylor Swift's concert. Taylor Swift has set this precedent where she decided that she wanted to own her music. And she's been redoing her albums and re-recording them and calling them Taylor's version, right? And there's this whole debacle with Scooter Braun and whatnot. But there's a reason why so many girls look up to her too. She's this businesswoman. She wants to own her music. And so here I am, like the minute I learned about NFTs, I was like, where's Taylor? Like Taylor Swift needs NFTs because this goes hand in hand with owning her own thing. So I want the Swifties out there to understand like NFTs, not just like this digital non-fungible thing. It can give us that access that I think Taylor wants with her fans, because Taylor's always been very, very close and really wants to connect with her fans. Well, this is a great way to do it. And you just explained that beautifully too, which is like, then she can also, as the artist, know where her fans live, what they love, what they want, right? By owning that NFT. Because right now, this whole verified fan with Ticketmaster, well, they're claiming, and I went on their website yesterday, they were saying, by requiring this registration, they are identifying real humans. Now, I'm not exactly sure that what they're doing is identifying real humans, because all it really did when I registered was like, oh, let's just confirm with sending you a text message. Like, okay, like this is like...
You could set up 100 phone numbers on Google Voice.
Exactly. So
let's rewind real quick for people. So I've been in the space for about 2 years, and how I look at NFTs has evolved greatly. I used to break NFTs down into like 3 or 4 different categories. Now there's 2 categories for me: art and a vehicle. NFTs are proof of ownership, right? They are essentially your receipt. It's a digital receipt, regardless of what it looks like. It could be as simple as something that says Taylor Swift fan club. It could be a piece of artwork. It could be, like, most people have probably heard of Bored Ape and how there's 10,000 different apes, right? All that ape is a receipt that you purchased something, right? So for some projects, that's just artwork. For other projects, it's membership to a club. It's access to software. It's, I don't know.
It's going to a concert.
Yeah, it could be anything. The NFT itself is just your proof of digital receipt, and it's a vehicle that then connects you on that road to a good, a service, a product, etc. So why would Taylor Swift want to do this? So for anybody that knows anything about the concerts or music venues or ticketing, companies like Ticketmaster, Live Nation, right? Like, they have contracts with all of these venues, which give them the right to sell tickets to those venues, right? So for example, we'll use the Miami Arena. The Miami Arena signs a deal with Ticketmaster. It says anytime there's an event at the Miami Arena, all tickets have to be sold through Ticketmaster. And Ticketmaster typically will pay the Miami Arena a fee. Hey, we'll pay you $5 million, $20 million. It's some crazy number, right? And the reason why I know this is because I used to work in this industry in Miami. And back when we were talking about you had to buy real tickets, right? So back when ticketing finally went digital, there were websites that launched that were specifically for like nightclubs and DJs. They would come to our venue and say, hey, we want you to sell your tickets on our website, and we'll pay you this fee to let us be the exclusive website. So that's how I know this works, right? How it works. So Ticketmaster pays the Miami Arena some crazy amount of money. All tickets have to be sold through Ticketmaster, no questions asked. And that's how Ticketmaster makes all their money, because they charge you fees and whatever. Okay, fine. Now imagine Taylor Swift or any other artist says, you know what? I'm not going to use Ticketmaster.
Yeah, exactly. Because why would Taylor Swift choose to go with NFTs?
Because Taylor Swift can then say, instead of putting the control of my tickets in Ticketmaster's hand, Instead, you come to my website, you mint a ticket through this process of being a fan or whatever, and I get to keep all the revenue from ticket sales. You don't have to pay any extra fees to Ticketmaster for handling and shipping and all this nonsense, right? And then Taylor Swift just basically goes to that venue and says, hey, I'm going to give you a percentage of all the ticket sales because we're going to sell them. And now Taylor Swift is in charge of how the ticket process works, how, the fees, all that stuff. Like, oh, why does Taylor Swift need to get more rich and blah, 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 whatever. It's not about the money though. It's about owning what is yours. That tour, that music is hers. Why does Ticketmaster or anybody else get to dictate how and who her tickets get sold to? Exactly. So again, with the blockchain and smart contracts and NFTs, she can then say, I don't need you. I'm going to sell my own tickets. And then, hey, Miami Arena, don't sell tickets through Ticketmaster. I'm just going to cut you in on 10%, whatever the necessary deal is.
And this is why I was saying before, it's so interesting to me. I'm actually curious if it was not her little conversation with SBF back in the day that she's like, I don't want to touch anything that has to do with like crypto or NFTs. But the fact that she comes out openly and saying, again, like with the record labels, hey, I want to be able to own my work. I want to be able to own my stuff. For me, it just makes sense that she starts thinking about NFTs because again, there's so many people online right now thinking, Joey, I want to know if this is true, but people, Taylor Swift fans, Swifties think right now that if they're buying tickets on StubHub or any third party, they think they are under the impression that Taylor Swift gets a cut off of that. Is that true?
Yeah. No. So first off, before we talk about getting a cut, let's talk about buying tickets.
Yes.
On secondary, right? So there are very safe websites like StubHub and Tickets to Go.
I think
or whatever,
I saw something
right?
like SeatGeek.
Yeah, there's SeatGeek. There's so many of these secondary websites now, right? And depending on the one you choose, right, the fees are different. Sometimes they take a fee from the buyer. Sometimes they take a fee from the seller. Sometimes they take a fee from both, right? But here's the thing. If you choose to not go through one of those websites because you want to save money and you choose to buy direct or from a scalper, like I bought tickets on the street outside of Yankee Stadium, right? There's no way for you right now, unless you take that ticket to the front and they scan it, for you to know if it's legit. Now, those other websites, they exist because they verify the tickets and you're paying essentially for that security. But now with NFTs, you know for a fact whether or not that ticket is real or fake because all of them will come from one single contract. So when you go on to any secondary site for NFTs, let's say they choose to launch these tickets on Polygon or Ethereum, you'll be able to buy these tickets secondary on OpenSea, Blur, LooksRare, X2Y2, right? You will know what is the official ticket collection because of the official contract that they release and say anything other than what's on this contract is fake. So now you've basically eliminated a huge industry in America of selling fake tickets. It's gone. Like, I'll tell you how something crazy. I used to work for music festivals and we would go to EDC Las Vegas. And EDC Las Vegas they finally transitioned from like paper tickets where they would literally just tear them to wristbands that had like an RFID or whatever. And, they would tighten the wristband so that way you couldn't take it off or whatever. There were people that managed to replicate the exact wristband, the exact little RFID thing. I mean, like it was identical,
wow,
but it didn't scan, right? And they were literally selling fake wristbands because it's like the what's the word?
The market.
When something's fake. When something's fake, counterfeit.
Yeah.
The counterfeit ticket market is huge, right? Like there's stories of people that Super Bowl tickets. I mean, it's crazy, right? So this technology would help eliminate. Now, the part you asked about, does she make money on secondary sales? To my knowledge, I have never heard of anybody getting a cut, any artist or performer getting a cut of sales off of StubHub from secondary sales.
Exactly.
Never heard of it, right?
Neither.
Like it doesn't make sense. Like it would be so hard. First off, they'd have to disclose it, right? And I've never seen it disclosed. So I've never heard of such a thing. Now with the blockchain, yes, I mentioned earlier, you could institute a royalty. So let's say her concert's in Miami, right? She can say, okay, every ticket that's sold on the secondary market in Miami, 2% of that comes back to us, which goes into our South Florida, inner city women empowerment charity.
Whatever it is,
right?
She decides.
Yeah, she decides. She can take that money and instead of keeping it for herself, which I don't think she would, she could then put that money to good use for her fans in that city where she's performing. That's what I would do, right? If I was her performer and I was going to release NFTs on the blockchain and I was going to take 2% of, let's say 2% or 5% of secondary sales, I'm giving it right back. College funds, helping Swifties start businesses, right? Some type of whatever, grants. And so there really is a lot you can do. And talking about ownership, music NFTs are a very under discussed, right? I think like an under explored area. Like it is very possible to start to see performers start to sell their music in the form of NFTs. Again, why? Number one, they don't have to deal with record labels and all that other stuff that takes such a huge cut, right? They can just do it themselves. And number two, it's direct marketing back to your fans, right? So instead of putting out a CD, I don't even know what they did. I don't think they put out CDs anymore. That was a really boomer take. But instead of
old.
Right? So instead of putting out music that way, you can sell NFTs as music. And then it's like, okay, well, now I know everybody that bought that song. So now if you own this song, you get early access to this music video, or you get early access to this, or right? Like there's so many ways to reward people. It's just the blockchain is really so early and so misunderstood.
I know.
We had the thing with Kanye West, right? And Drake, where people were using their voice and doing deep fakes. I don't understand why somebody like Drake or Kanye or Taylor or anybody hasn't essentially said, okay, hey, you want to make music with my voice? Cool. Go buy my voice as an NFT for $500 and do whatever you want with it. Right? Like you have the right, if you own this NFT, to produce music. Go have fun with it. 500,000, whatever it is, and they can make money off their voice the same way people make money off their likeness when they do IP licensing deals or whatever. So there's a lot of opportunity for sure.
And I mean, Joey, before we end this, why do you think the blockchain is so misunderstood? I mean, I took Taylor Swift because of, everything I'm seeing online, the timelines. People are so upset. Like I said, my girlfriends are crying. We are devastated that we were just on a wait list, and it's basically like tough luck, which is a bit mind-boggling to me because
that we don't have a better system in 2023.
I promise you, I would have waited in line for 5 days just to get that paper ticket.
Like the old Black Friday days when you would camp outside of Best Buy like the day before.
I seriously think I would have had a better chance than doing this verified fan Ticketmaster thing.
Yeah, it's crazy that there's not a better system in place. The reason why the blockchain is so misunderstood. So a quick anecdote. So when I was in elementary school, I like to say it was because I was really smart, but I tended to get in trouble a lot in elementary school, and most of the time it was because I was talking out or not paying attention. And like I said, too smart. I couldn't pay attention. I didn't have the time. I was just so far ahead. And I would get sent to the principal's office and whatever, right? I walk into the office and he goes, Joseph, not you again. And I was like, what do you mean? I haven't been here for like 3 weeks. And he was like, Joseph, let me explain something to you. For every one bad thing you do, you need to do 10 good things for people to forget that bad thing. And the problem is right now in the news cycle, there's not 10 good things that are being reported on regarding the blockchain, NFTs, and crypto. There's just not. It's almost like I don't want to say 50-50, but I would say it's probably 40-60 like bad news to good news.
It's like I got to take my loop and find it.
Yeah. Like there's just not enough positive, successful, innovative, exciting news articles or podcasts or whatever that are coming out talking about all of the amazing good that's like, for example, Starbucks Odyssey. I would challenge everybody watching this. How many of you know about Starbucks Odyssey and what Starbucks Odyssey is? Nobody's talking about it, right? Like none of the major companies in the world are like, wow, let's talk about the success of Starbucks Odyssey and why we should be doing it, right?
Which, by the way, I did have Bunchu talk about Starbucks on a previous episode. If you know what, I'm actually going to link it now that we mentioned Starbucks.
Yeah.
But I did because Starbucks, again, Taylor Swift, Starbucks, people gravitate
Nike,
towards these brands.
There's so many.
Like they already have these communities. It's almost like for me and for you and I, it's like a no-brainer that these companies are building these things. But for everybody else, I think it's a bit like what you said here, which is there just hasn't been enough positive news for people to be like, I get it, I will buy, or I want to learn about it.
Every other article is who got scammed, who got hacked, who rugged a project,
what the SEC is doing.
Yeah, it just, there's nothing positive right now. And like, even though we know living in this space 24/7 that there is a lot happening, people are building, people are innovating. Starbucks Odyssey, Nike, Adidas, Ticketmaster. There's just so many, Amazon is coming into the space and like, there's so many amazing things happening. And again, we are still in the infancy of this space, right? Like Web3. It's sad, right? Because I mean, I'll admit it, when social media first came out, I said, this is dumb. I don't want to do it. Keep me away from it. And then of course it became part of our life. And I expect that that's what the blockchain is going to be and what NFTs are going to be. And we're going to start to see it. I mean, there are countries and states, I think, even in the US, that are starting to put like driver's licenses and birth certificates on the blockchain, right? Like, I think until more people really start to understand that it's more than just a bunch of cartoon animal JPEGs, those are a vehicle that grants you access to products, goods, and services, the same way as how you used to carry around your Blockbuster card, right? When you carried around your Blockbuster membership, what did that grant you? That granted you access to go into Blockbuster and rent, depending on your membership tier, 1, 3, 5 video games, movies, whatever, right? This is no different, except you don't have to carry that card around. So if Blockbuster came out with an NFT, right? Like you, instead of carrying that little digital card around, your Blockbuster NFT granted you access to some video library where you could download, purchase, whatever, right? So when people start to learn that it's more than just a picture is when they'll really start to understand like how this technology can change their lives.
And also like, there's just so many things. And like we said, how are we not there yet? It's 2023. It's almost as if like we're on a standstill of like everything needs to stay this way, when in fact we are evolving, the way we're utilizing things, the way we're attending concerts. I mean, again, I'm going back to concerts because it's all about like, concerts right now, but look at everyone showing up to Beyonce's concert. They're all dressed up, Taylor Swift. I mean, do you remember back, like when it was like jeans and like I was just wearing whatever t-shirt to then go buy the t-shirt of the show.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and now it's like we're dressing up for concerts. Things have evolved, yet it almost seems like we're not working.
The technologies, like people don't want to innovate. Some companies don't innovate or are afraid of technology because it's kind of the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So they're like, well, this works. Why do we need to change it? Because there's a better option now, right? Like just because it works doesn't mean, look at the way cars have worked, but they keep evolving. Planes have worked, but they keep evolving, right? Like our computers, our cell phones, right? Everything works, right? So like the ticket industry is definitely one of those industries that, yes, it works and it ain't broke, but that doesn't mean we can't evolve and innovate to make it even better. And I really do think companies, and I don't work for them, I don't own any stock, but I do think companies like Token Proof are really starting to push what's capable of when it comes to ticketing. And I love to see the Ticketmasters doing it. Again, they're doing it for a different reason. They're doing it for like collectible memorabilia, advertising after the fact. But I do think that there's a way to integrate all of that. So for example, I used to go to a festival called Electric Forest in Michigan. And every time you went to an event, there was like a 1-year veteran, a 2-year, a 3-year, a 4-year, a 5-year, right? Like they had this term
almost like
that
those
they called
golf
them.
memberships, right? Like, yeah, you have like.
So like basically and the way they released tickets was based on how many times you went. So if you were a 5+ year veteran, you got tickets first. Then the 4-year veterans, then the 3-year veterans, then the 2-year veterans, then the 1-year veteran, and then everybody else, right? So they basically said like you had to set up with an email address. So again, can all of this be done with an email address? Basic, 100%. But can we do it better with the blockchain and NFTs? Yes.
I'm still thinking of that TikTok video of the girl who's just crying. And she's like, but daddy, you don't understand. The girls who are going, they only know like 2 songs. I know every song. And so I'm thinking about her because it's what you just said. If she had that NFT and she proved that for 10 years, she's been listening to music, buying merch, she may have had that possibility of getting a ticket before the little girl. Anyway, I digress. I've been clearly spending way too much time on TikTok. #Eras Tour. Joey, thank you so much for being here. I really want to encourage every Swiftie fan out there because I know that we can do this collectively because Taylor Swift actually does listen to her fans. If we start telling her, hey, Tay-Tay, call her Tay-Tay now. Hey,
great for Tay-Tay.
Okay. Look up NFTs. Tay-Tay, I want a Tay-Tay NFT. If we start collectively asking her to look at NFTs, this may be the way because the verified fan thing, I don't buy it. I think there's still bots in there. I mean, yes, we talked about that it might not remove all the bots, but Tay-Tay fans, if we can start encouraging Taylor Swift to look up NFTs, looking up how she can now start owning her concert tickets herself, right? She's talking about owning her music. If we can collectively get together, I don't know, let's figure out some hashtag together. I don't know, drop it in the comments down below what kind of hashtag we could use. Let's get her at least thinking about it because that's always the first step. It's never convincing. It's get people Googling this type of stuff. If we can convince a couple of Swifties to get up, go to the Eras Tour with, posters, Taylor, we want an NFT from you. Let's get this going because I think music is the next evolution for Web3 anyway. But I do want to encourage any Swiftie out there who's watching this to start looking this up, reach out to your artist, any artist. It doesn't even have to be Taylor Swift, anything you like, your movie, the Barbie movie, like whatever it is, reach out to these companies, these brands, tell them you are interested in potentially owning an NFT from them. Get this conversation going because I do think it is the only way at the point. And of course, I do encourage everyone to share this with your friends, like and follow, subscribe. I'm going to put all the links down below where you can find Joey for more beautiful hot takes here. And of course, you guys can, you can come find me on your favorite social media app. I talked about TikTok, but I'm on Instagram. I'm on X,
Threads.
Are
you still using Threads?
Still using Threads. We're going to see what happens, with X, Threads, TikTok, YouTube. Come find me. Facebook, come find me. All the links are going to be down below. And as always, make sure, again, to like and follow and hit up Joey. Okay, friends, that's it from us. Thank you again. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye.